Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2016 Lexus NX 200, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT Class 3 trailer hitch receiver. Personally, if I had a Lexus NX 200 and was looking for a trailer hitch, probably my biggest thought would be how it's going to look on the back of my SUV. And to be honest with you, this one don't look too bad. Even though it is completely visible for the most part, you can really see the cross tubes kind of along the sides, but they do kind of run back and kind of blend in a little bit. But it's not going to take away from the looks of the Lexus all that much. And honestly, I think it being visible does have a positive trade-off, and that's how easy it's going to be to use. The receiver tube is going to come out a little ways and be in the open, so whenever you do want to take off or put on your accessories, it's going to be really easy to get to. And not only that, but the hitch is going to give us some really good clearance. So what I mean by that is the end of the receiver tube opening is going to be pretty much flush here with our back bumper. And I know to a lot of NX 200 customers that's going to be really important because a lot of them plan on using bike racks and cargo carriers, especially ones that fold into that stored position. And so by giving us that good clearance, we're going to be able to swing them accessories into that upright position and not have to worry about them hitting the back of our Lexus. This is a Class 3 hitch, so it's going to give us that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. This is a super common size, and you should be able to use pretty much any accessory that you would want to with this hitch. So it's going to have a reinforced collar for extra strength. It's going to use a standard 5/8 pinhole. Now keep in mind, a pin and clip does not come included, but if you need one, you can pick it up here at eTrailer. You're going to have plate style safety chain openings, and one thing I like about them is they sit a little bit further back, so we're not going to have to worry about any interference with their pin and clip or anything like that. And even though the openings aren't huge, you shouldn't have any issues using pretty much any size hook that you might have. Now, as far as hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have a 525-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating. And that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the hitch. That's a pretty high number, so you should be able to use just about any size bike rack or cargo carrier that you'd want to, for example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, it's going to be 3,500 pounds. That's going to be the amount of weight that's pulling on the hitch. So that is the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. Now this can be used with a weight distribution system, and it will increase the gross trailer weight rating to 4,000 pounds. But the maximum gross tongue weight rating will remain the same at 525 pounds. Now I do always suggest it's never a bad idea just to check in your Lexus owner's manual to make sure your NX 200 can pull that much weight safely. Now I'm going to give you a couple of measurements, and you're going to use these to help figure out which hitch-mounted accessories to get. From the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 13.5 inches. So if you do plan on doing a little bit of towing, chances are good you're going to need to get a ball mount with a rise. From the center of the hitch pinhole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 4 inches. And you're going to use that measurement to help figure out that if any folding accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without contacting the bumper. But at the end of the day, a hitch you really can't go wrong with. It's going to be able to handle pretty much anything you want to throw at it, whether you're using accessories or even some towing. Now I want to mention, if you do plan on doing some towing, it is a good idea to pick up some trailer wiring. That way the lights on your trailer will sync up with the lights on your Lexus, and you'll be safe and legal. And after kind of looking at this hitch for a minute, I get to thinking, if looks are your primary focus, if that's what's really important to you, and you really only plan on using bike racks, for example, the smaller 1.25" hitch may be a better option for you. Because of its smaller size, it is going to blend in a little bit better and be less noticeable. But with that being said, as far as the installation goes to get this hitch on, it's really not too bad. Everything's pretty easy to get to and doesn't take a whole lot of time. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that together now. To begin our install, we're going to be underneath the back of our Lexus, and what we're going to need to do is lower our exhaust down a little bit. That way it'll give us some more room to work. However, I like to take a strap and kind of run it from side to side, and that'll kind of support the exhaust and let us control how fast and how far we let it down. So to get the exhaust lowered, we're going to have a total of 3 rubber isolator hangers. We're going to have one over here on the driver's side, one on the passenger side that's set up exactly the same as this one, and one towards the center. So to get these off, you're going to spray them down with some soapy water, some penetrating oil, something like that. Get a big pry bar or a big screwdriver and just work that rubber portion off of the exhaust. Now I already took off the passenger side one, so now we can move to the center. That center one's going to be located right there. So I use that same technique to get this one removed as well. It don't really matter which side of it you take off as far as the top or bottom is concerned. Just whichever one's easier and you can get to better. Once we have that removed though, we can kind of loosen up our strap and lower our exhaust down a few inches, giving us that room we need to work. Now what we can do is point out our attachment points that we're going to use to secure our hitch. They're going to be the same on both sides of our vehicle, and they're going to be right here in this area on the frame rail. So there's going to be a total of 2 weld nuts on each side of our frame rail. One right here. If we move a little bit closer towards the front, we're going to have one right there. Now I do suggest cleaning those out with a toothbrush or something like that. You can spray some penetrating oil in there if you need to. And what that's going to do is remove any dirt or debris. Now if these are really rusty, you may have to go to the auto parts store and get a tap, run it in there, and really clean them threads out. But with that being said, once you have them clean, you can put your hitch up and use the hardware to secure it. So the hardware that I'm going to use is all the same. We're just going to take one of these bolts and a conical tooth washer. Make sure that the teeth on the washer are going to face towards the hitch. So once that hitch is up, we're simply just going to thread those bolts into place. Now with an extra set of hands, we can take our hitch and raise it into position. So go over our exhaust. So what we can do is line up the holes in our hitch with the attachment points in our frame. We just want to get at least one bolt started hand tight. That way the hitch will support itself while we work on the rest of the hardware. Now with all of our bolts in place and hand tight, we can go ahead and grab a socket and snug them all down. So at this point, we can grab a torque wrench and tighten all of our hardware down to the amount specified in the instructions. Now that we have all of our bolts torqued down, we can raise our exhaust back into position. So again, you can spray everything down, some soapy water, raise it up, and you can just pop them hangers on by hand. So after you get your last hanger reinstalled and the exhaust is supporting itself again, you can go ahead and remove our strap. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the CURT Class 3 trailer hitch receiver on our 2016 Lexus NX 200.